Here is how to comment during the Frankly Speaking show. On your computer, look to the right of the video. That's your live chat hub. Click the Say Something box at the bottom, type your message, and hit enter. Boom, you're live. On the mobile app, it's just as easy. Tap the live chat button right under the video to open the window. Pro tip, if you're in full screen mode, tap the screen once and hit the chat icon to see messages without leaving the action. Can't type? Check two things. Make sure you're signed in and see if subscribers only mode is on. You might need to sub and wait a few minutes. Keep it respectful, follow the mods' rules, and have fun.
Good day. Good day. Good day. The PEP results were out last week, and frankly speaking, children all over the country are being celebrated. Perhaps none more than 11-year-old Jasonnia Beadle of St. Elizabeth. Jasonnia got the highest grade of nearly 32,000 children who sat the examinations in Jamaica. That's for the first part of our podcast. Welcome to regular panelists Desmond, and welcome back to Winnie. Welcome to you, our viewers and listeners who make the program worthwhile. We encourage you to send your questions and comments as shown earlier, or just by adding them to the relevant section of the YouTube channel. The second part of today's podcast is about suggestions to, frankly speaking, restrict the use of social media platforms among children. This is episode 217 of the Frankly Speaking Jamaica Podcast, and we ask you to like and share the podcast and subscribe to the channel. Then we'll also have a word of congratulations for Maureen Mullins Nelson, the JTA President-elect designate. Meanwhile, frankly speaking, there is great suffering in Jamaica's one-time friend, Venezuela, where two powerful earthquakes with magnitudes over 7.2 devastated parts of the capital, Caracas. More than 1,500 people have been killed. Over 50,000 are still missing, and UNICEF says over 1 million people are in need of humanitarian assistance. But back to home, where there is still unfinished business. Dr. Andrew Wheatley is still a cabinet minister, and frankly speaking, we are yet to hear details of the plan to send deportees from other countries to Jamaica. But behind us all of that, now to the remarkable achievement of a young student, Jasonnia Beadle of Park Mountain Primary in St. Elizabeth, who beat those thousands of bright sparks from all across Jamaica in language arts, mathematics, and mental ability, which made up the PEP exams for this year. Commendations to her father and mother. But we are joined now by Principal Carlene Williams-Heath. Welcome, Mrs. Williams-Heath. Thank you so much for joining us to tell us a little bit about this exceptional student. First of all, what has it been like this past week for you at Park Mountain?
It was a great week. Nothing that I have imagined, a week like that. It was a week of excitement, of celebration, of giving God thanks, of just really reflecting and just saying, wow, look what the Lord has done. It was just celebration, motivation, and just what we needed at a right time. We needed this, and it came right on time. So it was a jubilant week for us.
Explain to us what you mean by it all came at the right time.
In any, sometimes in the morning, Monday morning, I had devotion with them, and the theme for the week was in everything, give thanks. So I told them whether it's good or it's bad, we must find a place to tell God thanks. So I put them in the mood to know that, whatever God really, really do, we must just give God thanks. So we started the morning in that way of just in a thanksgiving mode, not knowing that we were really going to be blessed with this news. At that time, this year has been probably one of the most trying years because before my results, our theme for graduation is trials to triumph. We made it. So we had that theme long before we would have gotten our results. We, since Melissa, we have been out of it, have to be pulling up and regrouping and rescheduling. So we're not in our normal frame of operating. And so things were just not all together. So it came at a time when persons were blowing from just putting it together, teachers using every strategy to prove, to please, and to really address the time. And so that came at a time when we really needed that blessing, that fresh air, that, yeah, after all of this,
Yeah.
look what the Lord has done.
Tell us a bit about this young lady at the school. I gather she's the last of, well, she has 3 or 4 siblings. But tell us a
Yes.
little bit about her.
Well, I can tell you about her at school. Can I tell you a quiet young girl who very humble in my own view. She is the one who is always thinking. She's brilliant. That much I can tell you, she is brilliant. Not one to give you a whole lot of talk, but she's our head girl, and she won it through her interview. I was a bit worried for her, wondering if she was going to deliver because I know she's quiet, pretty reserved, but she did it. She won her interview, and that coupled with her competency and her performance in the past landed her the head girl. So very quiet girl, but she does what she needs to do.
And for you, were you surprised?
Can I tell you, Mr. McKnight, that in September I said to her, Jasonnia, I want you to do something great. I want you to land me in about top 10. But I wasn't even thinking national. Telling the truth, I was thinking within the region that our name will be called like regionally, Park Mountain, you did well. I said, we have been doing well in our own ways. We have been, coming out of our own and really performing well because we have a wonderful team of teachers who believe that what we say every day, excellence is our mandate. And so I called her and I tell her I need something great. And I said, you're going to do this. I even went to say, girl, I really need a government scholarship. That was my way of motivating her and pushing her and believing in her and didn't believe it will happen. Every now and then, when she passes the office or when we get together, I'll say to her, remember what I told you? And she will quietly say, yes, miss. Soft spoken, quiet. Yes, miss. No hype within her. Yes, miss. I happened to I had to engage with her on Saturdays because I do my Saturday classes for them. I always, as principal, want to have something to do with the examination group. So on Saturdays I'll touch the language, I'll, do the mental ability, a little maths with them. The teachers are very good, but that little, I still want to feel a part of it. So on Saturdays, I try to give them at least 2 hours. And so I get to see her. I get to see her 100% coming out. I get to see when she knows that she must not score any 90 for me. I'm not going to be happy. And she's always, and I always tell the other students, your task today is to beat Jasonnia today. You're going to beat her today. And that push her because she don't want to be beaten. And on the day of exam, at the end of the exam, I called her to the office. I said, you did it? And she said, yes, miss. But of course, this did it I'm talking about is something regionally. It's something, it is nothing, this was not in my mind. It was just something that, my education officer, my regional director can make mention that, Paramount did well, that was really my initial aim. But can I tell you, she went to greater places. So I knew she's brilliant. And I was expecting something. But was I expecting this? Not at all.
Tell us a little bit. You mentioned the hurricane, Melissa. How did it affect the school? And tell us also about what size school is it? What size is it with the grade 6 class and so on? What's the size of the school? You are in Santa Cruz.
Yes, say about 3 minutes out of Santa Cruz.
Yes.
Yes, sir. And so Melissa would have affected us. We would have lost roof from about 3 or 4 buildings. So all the infant department went. We would have lost roof from grades 1 and 2, 3 and 4, and there was a part of grade 6. So we were totally battered. When I drove into the school 2 days later, the hurricane was Tuesday. I would have gone I couldn't have gone the day after because I would have lost my roof at home. And so when I went the day after, I said, God, when are we going to get back here? Because it was saying to me, this would never happen again for a very long time. And so we were beaten. We were really beaten. But I would have gone out into the community along with some of other staff members and board members. We went out to give some snack to the children and to, of course, check on them. We have a caring school. It's a caring institution. And so we went out to do our checks. When I went to one particular community, one of my students said to me, Miss, when are we going to come back that they can get me food? And it dawned on me, man, this is not just a learning center. This is not just a learning community. This is where my students will depend on their meals and everything. And so I went back and I would have spoken to my senior staff, and we decided that we're going to do something about fixing what we can until the ministry is ready for us.
So how soon after the hurricane did classes actually resume, and was there special arrangement for grade 6?
No, we set out right away that we're going to get them ready, and we did something to say that we bring our community members, we brought them together, and they did some minor repairs to allow. We were thinking of grades 4, 5, and 6 to come back, but we had our grade 6 on the mind, but not only grade 6, because we're mindful of the importance of all grades. So we started with grades 4, 5, and 6 in November, the last week in November. And then by that time, we said we put it on a rotation and also allowed 1 to 3 to also come in.
Sorry, did you say you were in rotation from that time?
Yes, sir. And we ended on rotation. We're still on rotation. Nothing. We're still.
Meaning what? How many days for which classes?
Right. Grade 6, though, we tried our very best to allow grade 6ers to come in almost every day. But like their grade 1 and 2, they would have missed a day. And the infant department only attended for 2 days. They came Wednesday and Thursday. So with no learning loss going on, but teachers, couple up their strategies, use the WhatsApp group. Teachers gave them worksheets, and when they came, we went full 100 with literacy and numeracy to ensure that they would have, been on par. So we put a lot into it. But yes,
so tell us something about the state of.
I didn't get your question.
Tell us about the status of repairs at that school now.
Well,
what is the status of the repairs?
We're in the recovery stage now, sir. We're in the recovery stage. The infant department is covered, and a contract is there. The contractors are there, and they're working on it. So the summer.
You have water?
Water is not. I wouldn't tell you yes.
Do you have water at school?
No, sir. We're still purchasing water at this time. But we got back our electricity.
I'm asking if you have water at school.
Desmond, we're hearing you, but you're having some delays on your side. But she's hearing. Can you answer that, Mrs. Heath?
Yes. I answered. I was saying that we don't have regular water since the hurricane. But we got back.
She's hearing me?
February.
Yes.
I'm hearing you, sir.
Are you hearing me, Frank?
Desmond, and she's answering, but you're not hearing us on this end. So you're not hearing. So it's disjointed a little bit there. But you are not hearing, Desmond. But she's been answering that. So Mrs. Heath, just to follow up on that, what do you expect September? You expect the school to be fully back in terms of the repairs with regard to Melissa?
Yes, sir. I'm hoping so, sir. I am expecting that because that's really what we want. Because we want to ensure that we're able to address the learning loss of our students. We really want to build on it and to get running, So we're really hoping that. But they promised us that, and we're hoping for that.
How have the teachers been feeling about the state of the school, the physical plant, and so on? How have they been feeling?
I don't know. I think I'm blessed to have a set of resilient teachers. We somehow we get them to operate within any situation that they're in. We operate from motivation, so they'll do their best in any situation. Yes, you want them because when we have to probably manually go for water and to use for the bathroom, you can see it on their faces sometimes. You see the frustrations, but they are not stopping. It doesn't alter the fact that they're going to give up their best within the classroom.
What's the size of the school?
We have 466 students on roll.
Okay, very good size.
We have grade 6 students. 60 of them sat the exam. 60.
Okay. So it's 2 grades 6 then?
2 grade 6, sir. And they all did well.
They all did well. So tell us something. What does a child like this is a special case. What does she get a full? There's not a full scholarship so much, I suppose, because high school tuition and so on is free. What does she get in addition to the place at that school?
Well, from the government side, I don't know, sir. I'm not aware. I was not told yet. We were not informed as to what's her package, but we know from our school, from our level, she's our ambassador and will do anything. She has placed our school on the map globally. Yes. So we know at our school, she's our ambassador. And we already start to treat her like that. We plan to make sure we name a wall with her name. We plan to name her ambassador at the graduation. We have plans for her at school. And I'm sure the government of Jamaica will have some plan for her. But I'm not notified as yet as to exactly what it will be.
No.
May we have the comments, Franklin? A comment is here from Vanda Palmer saying, good interview. I love the leadership of the principal, except for the use of would have. It's annoying me. I know that pet peeve, that linguistic challenge, the would have. But we'll focus on the first part. Good interview. And I love the leadership of that principal. Congratulations, principal.
And principal has been there. You have been there for what is it? How long? Just tell us a little bit about your stay at that school, which you are now leading.
I have been there since 1998, May 1998.
That's
Nearly
a long
30
time.
years, 28 years. Yeah.
Yes. And it's someone from your parish too.
And you
I know Mr. Palmer very well.
Okay.
And you have been principal since when?
2014.
Okay.
Yes.
Because you mentioned earlier that you had said to the young lady, like, you had expected her to dominate for the region and so on. But are there still, because I don't know, I should know, but are there still parish prizes for the top person, apart from the private sector who gives out these things? There's no government scholarship in this sort of thing anymore, is there?
I am not aware of it.
Okay,
I'm not aware of it.
All right, so I noticed that your young scholar says she would like to be a nurse or a doctor. I in one of the interviews, I think it was to young Casey Williams, I want to become either a nurse or a doctor, and I expect to maintain my grades and exceed expectations and just do well. I think that is such a powerful thing for a little girl to say.
I think this little young girl, young girl should be encouraged to become a businesswoman.
No, but what she wants is what she wants to be, Desmond.
Yeah, I know. I know. That is what she has been taught, to believe that those are the professions, the golden professions. We have all been taught that way. Black people, we have been taught that we must go to school, get a good profession, and get a work.
Yes, and so she says, I want to become either a nurse or a doctor. And the part I'm focusing on even more, and I expect to maintain my grades and exceed expectations and just do well. And I'm saying, what a real load to carry, to exceed expectations and just do well.
Franklin, I would not like the principal to leave without commenting on the parents.
Yes.
How are they feeling? What are they saying? What are the parents saying in all of this?
The parents excited, happy, grateful.
Yes.
Grateful, wonderful parents. Father drops her off at school every morning and picks her up in the afternoon. The mother is always present at the PTA meeting. So, supportive, wonderful. They are excited about this.
All the support that you would want in the school, principal, because many principals will tell you that is a big part of the letdown in schools. The parents not coming, not involved with children, don't know much about it, even though they set up WhatsApp groups and so on and communicate with the parents. There's very little feedback from the parents. So it's really good when you have a child like this.
Yes.
With parents' involvement. And you had 60 of them in the class. Do you have involvement from a lot of the parents, or is that exceptional?
We have very, very active PTA. We have an extremely active PTA. We meet once per month, and the parents are present. Say we'll have at a regular meeting over 150 parents at the meeting.
How many?
At 150 persons, 100 to 150 parents. Good parents relationship exists.
That's powerful, principal. That is powerful.
I speak to them every Sunday afternoon. I send out a note to my parents. We call them they know exactly, we call it stakeholders announcement. So we send out our announcement every Sunday, so the parents are aware of exactly what will happen throughout this week, what's the motivation for this week, what's the expectations, and what's their task in the role that we have to play this week.
Tell us about resources at that school. What are the things that you are short of and you would like to be addressed?
Classroom space, sir. We're a growing school. Yes, so classroom space. I am in need of classrooms, especially for grade 5 at this time. I'm hoping that will become a reality for September.
You mean you need another class, physical, and another classroom?
Yes, sir. That I can host grade 5 properly. They are presently in retrofitted areas. So we're hoping that they will be able to.
But I'm a little concerned about that water situation which you mentioned. Desmond asked you about, and you said you're not back with the water situation. But was there good supply before Melissa?
Yes, sir. It's as a result of the hurricane, but they are working on it, and I'm hoping that it will be back soon. Since recently we have been getting, a bit. Yes.
As you know, Mrs. Heath, we all should say they must give that school everything that they want, because you have proven. Well, I suppose some people will say, well, you have done so much with so little that they can do everything with even less. But really, it's a pleasure hearing of your stewardship and the work of your. Remind us of the name of the teacher, because I know that you have mentioned her name all the time.
Diane Dennis. There's a question I would like to respond to, sir. The person asked within the chat, given the
person asking
students who sat the PEP exam, how many were placed at the top 3 or even 5 schools? We have 9 Monroe.
You have 9 Monroe
College, 8 Hampton, 8 Stets, 8 Black River, maybe 7 Lacovia. So all of those top schools, our students are there in good numbers. They did
wonderful.
Well.
Wonderful. Yeah. Do you get is the school normally judged by it seems that this is commonplace, how many students go to traditional high schools?
I believe so, sir, whether we like it or not. When a school is doing well, it's measured from the schools at their place.
Yeah. Okay. Winnie, before she goes, you want to just take those comments, the other comments she mentioned one, but when you take the others.
Okay, there was a comment above that said, Owen Richards said, Desmond has a point there, and I hope they have career days in the schools. Mm-hmm. And then down to the last one, given her grounding at the school, exceeding expectations seems quite natural. She's surrounded by a group of engaged people led by the principal.
Yeah, thank you. So Desmond, you're getting support that young lady must be suggested to her that she must become a business person.
Then Franklin, all of us on this program.
Children have dreams, man. Children have dreams.
Yes,
Desmond,
but
all we have to do is widen up the space enough for them to express their dreams.
We as adults on this program, don't we see the need for black people to follow the capital? We want to be owners of capital. That's what we want now. That's what blacks need.
We need a whole program for that, Desmond. We need a whole program for that.
All right. Madam Principal,
yes, sir.
Madam Principal Carlene Williams-Heath, we want to thank you and we want to congratulate you.
Yes.
Winnie was congratulating you before the program, but Winnie, you can congratulate her now again.
Well, heartiest congratulations again to you and your team. Teamwork makes it work. You're not there fighting, you're there leading, and people are working with you. I admire that. Blessings.
And I know that the minister went there during the week, Mrs. Heath, so I'm not going to say anything that protocol doesn't provide, or that it seems as if we're fighting anything. But the Ministry of Education should see to it that everything is forwarded at the school that you get a good water supply system. Water in the schools is just absolutely essential in all of these schools. And that your ambassador goes out there continuing to shine. We really admire you and we thank you, Mrs. Heath, for what you have done.
Let me get in this congratulations as well from M. Lauriston now. Congrats on that, Principal. It does appear that the school is doing exceptional well, and not just one or two of your students.
All right.
Yes.
Okay. Thanks, Winnie.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks, Mrs. Heath.
You're welcome, sir.
Okay, Principal, keep up the good work.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So we are okay. We're moving on now. We thank her. Before we go to the next segment, let's extend congratulations to Dr. Maureen Mullins Nelson, who was elected president-elect in the recent JTA elections, the results of which were released this past week.
On this program,
go ahead, Desmond.
On this program, I recall telling her competitor that he is going to win. I recall telling that. But you know,
and as I was saying at the time, you often lose a lot of elections. You have a lot of election bets that you have lost.
But
the JTA beat her colleague Darian Henry in the elections. This means she will be sworn in as president-elect at the JTA conference in August and will be declared president of the JTA.
I know it will be difficult.
2027.
I know it will be difficult for Darren to win, because you have to remember that the JTA is a female-dominated organization, and the president who is standing by is a female. Remember that? I know that, and she was a person who was got some very bad press, but the JTA membership voted for her again.
You mean Jasonnia Harris? Jasonnia. Well,
yes.
Desmond, as I got a text message last time. Somebody mentioned that. I think it was on this program too. And they said the JTA is not a gender type of vote. If you look at the leadership of the JTA, and Winnie can tell us more about that at another time. But if you look at the leadership of the JTA over this time, and it's always been dominated membership by women. A lot of men, Desmond, have won. So this is
it has a lot of men. But you have to remember
Mullins Nelson will claim other things than gender. But let's
go
to what she said. Sorry, Desmond, say that. I was speaking.
No, you have to just remember how in the society in which we have, women have been discriminated against when it comes on to leadership, You remember that?
Yes, but I'm saying that she would say that it's not just because she's a woman why she has won, with a membership largely of women. All right, here's what she said on the Frankly Speaking podcast on May 24, when we asked her to address likely voters. At the end of the program, near the end of the program, we said to her, talk to the membership. Joshua, we have that? 1 minute now and wrap up by just making a pitch to put the potential, the voters who are out there and would want to know, again, why they should consider you as the next president-elect.
Thank you for that. So my colleagues, 35 years I've served this system, and I've served this system at an excellent level. I am the advocate that you have been asking for. You have been asking for someone from the classroom, 35 years, and even though I lecture at the university college, I stand and prepare students in front of a classroom just like you. And so my track record of excellence, my consistency, my advocacy, a part of the negotiation team, I'm armed with the knowledge, I'm armed with the skill set, I'm research driven. All I need now is your vote to ensure that Maureen Mullins Nelson is the next president-elect designate of the association. Colleagues, I ask you to do your homework this evening. I ask you to go and do some research on Maureen Mullins Nelson and my track record and the ability that I have to pull a team together. Collegiality is where it's at for me. And how, throughout the years, I have transformed institutions. That is the level of advocacy that I have given, and that is the person that you would want to serve as your next president.
All right.
Of the Jamaican
Dr. Nelson? Oh, well. Thank you, Joshua, for bringing us that, and congratulations again to Dr. Mullins Nelson and to Darian Henry. Race well run. But we have a new JTA president-elect. All right. So we're going to move now to the fact that children, they're now talking about blocking children. Soundings are being made that could move or restrict, ban the use of social media among teens. We're going to go over to Winnie to take us through this part of the program. Winnie.
Okay, Joshua, please take it away.
A legal shield for children or an unenforceable rule. Globally, countries like Australia and the UK are banning social media for kids under 16. Now, Jamaica's Ministry of Health is launching national consultations on doing the exact same thing. The National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica, NPTAJ, is welcoming the move. But critics warn tech-savvy kids will just find dangerous workarounds. So how do we navigate this?
Joining us to dissect this issue, let's see who we have. We have Jeffrey Noble, and we should have the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica president to help us dissect this issue. Do we have Mr. Jacobs? If we don't, welcome, Jeffrey. Great to have you. And I want you to begin by sharing your perspective on this proposed ban. As a parent, as a Jamaican Canadian parent, what say you?
All right. So very pleasant good evening to everyone, to all the others that are on, those whom I can see, and those that I can't. Good evening to everyone. All right. Am I being heard?
Yes.
Awesome. First of all, let me say it's sad that it had to go to banning. And that, first of all, us as parents are not more active in ensuring that our children are not accessing these devices or disciplined enough to ensure that we have the oversight that they don't get exposed too quickly.
A legal shield for children or an unenforceable rule.
I am not sure what's going on there. Sorry about that. Please continue.
Go ahead, Mr. Noble.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yes, that's my first perspective. That parents have dropped the ball. All of us, and including yours truly, I can speak from personal experience that I think we have dropped the ball when it comes down to our children. I do believe that something has to be done. And interestingly, an educator who I know is present right here, we were having a discussion maybe 2 or 3 years ago about this conversation, not knowing what the future was going to hold, that I would be in a panelist. And I was saying, I remember when we were in school in Jamaica and how we used to listen to the radio, and our creative process and minds. You create this this image in your mind, whether it was a brother unanswered story or whatever the case is, to be able to help our development and how we were able to think. And when I look at my children, my nieces, my nephews, and a lot of the children of this generation, I realize that social media has taken away their own natural ability to think, to develop properly. And I also realize that they're being exposed, no matter if you're a Rastafarian, Muslim, Christian, atheist, whatever the case is. Once children get exposed to social media, you now no longer have the control over what they see and the value system that you might want to teach your own children to function in the society that they exist. So
Come on, Mr. Noble. Mr. Noble, you are saying that the social media prevents children from having or keeping their parents' faith. Is that what you're saying? Because you mentioned these religions. Is it that social media just throw those through the door?
I said your value system, whatever it's based on, whether you're an atheist, whether you are a Rastafarian, with the presence of social media and our children having these unfettered access, you now no longer have the ability to discipline or form them in the in the way you think that they should show up in the world. Because I'm not here saying you should choose Christianity or Muslim or Rastafarian. I'm just simply saying your value system, because now it's the value system of somebody else. Because when you look at all the things that they're exposed to, I mean, nudity, they're exposed to so many different things from so early. That is where my point is.
I would like to associate myself with those views. Social media, first of all, social media is very good. But at the moment, one of the things that I personally find with social media, it is laced with inaccuracies. Now, the children are exposed to all sorts of things that they should not be exposed to at their ages, right? What you find now is that the youngest child has a phone, right? And there is no, as the gentleman pointed out, that we have, as parents, we have not really, we have lost it there. Let me put it that way. We have lost it there. The children are now in control of the phone, and they can access social media and access all sorts of inaccuracies and impurities. I think that something should be done to allow the children to focus on the positive things about social media. Social media, I must point out, is an educational tool that can be used to really get children forward. But the young people nowadays spend most of their times on TikTok and doing all kinds of crazy things.
Well, Winnie.
Let's look at the poll. Let's pay attention to the poll at this point. The question: would you be in favor of a law limiting the use of social media by youngsters in Jamaica? And the YouTube poll: yes, 62%, no, 25%, not sure, 12%. You go, Franklin, and then I'll say what I was about to say.
Well, Winnie, it's you I'm coming to before Mr. Noble, because I mean, we're all making these generalizations and so forth. And I know that you're aware of studies done in the UK, in Canada, in Australia, and other places. But do we have any information? Do you have enough data to suggest that a ban is necessary, that to save our children, or to put them on the right path, that we need to ban social media use among them? Where's the data for that?
I will come to that. Let me take the comment that is on the screen as well. added to what Desmond said so we don't lose it, and irresponsibility to Desmond, not to mention the lack of accountability. This says Vando. Before I say anything else, Franklin, I want us to, when we talk about social media and creating and a ban, what exactly are we banning? What are we talking about when we talk about banning? And is it possible? And is it enforceable? So regardless of whether or not it is clear, enough studies have been done at home and abroad to show that children are being affected negatively. But the solution may cause more problem than we anticipate because we don't understand exactly what it entails. So banning, first of all, when we talk about social media, TikTok, yes. What else? Facebook, yes. Instagram, yes. Pinterest, yes. And we have Snapchat. We have a number of social media platforms that are there. Now, is there any way that when you ban, it prevents children from using social media? That's one. Is it something that can work? Even if it is a solution, can it work? What about VPN, virtual private network? Can children bypass that? So it is a situation that it is hard to police. So we really need the parents to pay attention. Let's go to this comment. Let's go to this comment. Let's go to this comment first. Lariston now says, banning social media is a retrograde step. Parents should play a more integral role in their children's life and point them in the right direction as to what is acceptable in the use of the socials. So what you are saying now, Franklin, go ahead with that.
Yes, I'm saying when we say ban it, what's the mechanism for preventing these children from accessing it on their phone or their devices? When we say ban, Mr.
Okay.
Noble, what would be done?
All right. I wouldn't have the date. I'm just going to go to countries that I've been to for argument's sake. There are certain countries I've been in Asia and China specifically, and there are certain apps that you cannot have access to it while you're there. All right. I will also think of the new legislation that has come now. Certain Jamaican news, when I'm here, when I'm abroad, I can't have access to it.
You mean here in Canada, so that people know exactly where
right.
you
can't have access to it. So I believe that if a banning is going to be in effect, it would have to be from that perspective. And again, just like Lariston, if I got the name correctly, would have agreed with me to what I said in the beginning, that parents have dropped the ball. And listen, we yes, retrograde, but if you're thinking about I am, however old as I am, right, 5 decades in, I still remember the first 20 elements of the periodic table that I learned from high school and can recite it. None of my children can do that. The methodology that is being used now, number one, that give them this access. And I look at other forms of learning. Sometimes even I have been an active parent.
Mr. Noble, but we're dredging up the good old days, as if the good old days meant all of these fantastic things. And they do have some really great things. There's no doubt about that. But why we want to just remove the whole thing from the children, remove all of the social media access that they would have? And I just want to find out what is the mechanism for doing it.
But it's not possible.
Again, I would support it, but first of all, I say, parents, get a hold of your own children. If you want them to be intellectually sound, because we look at, there are so many different factors that we can look at: the social development, the intellectual development, their own ability to get into their emotions, and I think there are persons who would have said to me, when your children are growing, there are things that even you shared with them that they were not ready for at that stage. With the social media, there are so many things that our children are being exposed to, and exposed to too early, and not only blights them. So I firmly believe, again, parents, number one, should have that responsibility and try to do, but I would not be against it if a particular country decides to do, because seeing that we've dropped the ball, so to speak, and like, I have children who have now graduated from university, and I'm not knocking them down and are perceived to be brilliant. I still look at the quality of work that they perform. I look at the way they think, the way they solve problems. I look, not everything from our past was the best, but at least it allowed us to develop incrementally and in a period of time that help us to be more grounded.
Yes, there was a comment. There was a comment that I am looking for. Yes. Well, this goes without saying. Devin Dickens says, what is proposed is a social media restriction, not one for the internet. That's very clear. It's about social media. It cannot be for internet use. But is it?
Not hearing you, Winnie.
70% no, 20%, 10% not sure. So more people are weighing in on this proposed ban or limiting the use of social media among people under 16. What I have to say, though, is that the parents who are addicted to social media, banning it for the children, that really doesn't help those households, because the parents are addicted and the children will be as exposed as they were, or even more exposed, because many times it's not their own phones that they are using when they are paying attention to these sites.
So I know that you might not have details of how you limit or restrict it, but the device that a child has, the device in the child's hands, would have a restriction on all of the social media platforms. Is that what would be there, or what? How does it work?
What happens in the pressure is on the providers to make sure that those people who access their services, they are of the correct age. And that, again, there's a lot of pressure on the people who are providers. But there is a lot cost. There's much more to this topic than we have time to discuss. But let's pay attention to this. This other comment. Yes. And here's my tangential point, M. Lauriston now. Denying children the opportunity to carry phones to school in these modern times is also foolish and high-handed. Children need to remain in contact with parents. Anyone wants to take that? Who would like to comment on that one?
All right. If you notice, there's a difference between banning the phone and banning social media content. There's a big difference between the two. Because I remember when I got my then 12-year-old a very simple phone. It was one that had no social media access, gave her the ability, if she's in a situation, to be able to reach to either me or her mom, or for me to reach out to her. So I think, to M. Larson now, it's a different conversation if we're saying we're banning the phone from them. We're simply saying social media and the ability to access some of those things. I am saying I am in support of that. So there are two different thoughts there. It's not the same thing.
I'm a partial supporter of some restriction there, but I don't think the restriction is what is the issue. I think the amount of time that parents allow children to use the phones, have the phones, go to social media, do whatever they like with the devices is part of the issue. And also part of the issue is the guidance that parents, I know that parents can provide guidance and suggestion, and some children fall away from it. That's a risk you take in life. But if the children are properly guided by their parents, I believe that there's some redemption there, and that we don't have to knock out social media use away from them. There's a lot of things that you're not going to be able to stop your children from doing.
And I would agree with you. But is that happening? And when you look at sometimes even the caliber of persons, or sorry to say this, the caliber of persons, or my issue with some of this, you see, and I've seen it happen. I have a good friend who is a principal, and during COVID, right there in Jamaica, when the devices were being given to children, and when they went and look at what some of the kids had on their devices, pornographic images, nudity, but it was also supplied by other students who introduced them to. So when you look at the fact that I send my child to school, my child has a simple phone for argument's sake, but then my good friend here, all right, say Winnie send her son to school as well, and she's a parent who is liberal and just allow her son access to whatever she wants. The next thing you know, my child is being able to see that. So this is where I am saying, hey, people are not doing what they're supposed to do. So if we can do something to mitigate some of that, it wouldn't be a bad idea.
So Noble, it's important for us to remember that what we're doing is equipping children for the world out there. And one of the things that we obviously need to teach them and show them is what sort of things are unwholesome or unhealthy or not good for them at the different ages as they go through the system. And it seems to me, but you have said it, that children, parents need to take a more active role. And I'm saying not just in whether there is also in how much time. I know parents who have control time for their children, whose children can't go to the phone or use the phone at a particular hour, whose children must sit down and read at a particular hour. But the parents themselves, when you mention the addiction to it, parents themselves, man, we have some issues for ourselves. When there's two comments, I'd love you to pick up.
Yes. We go back to the poll. I'll tell you where we are. Here's a 73% saying yes now, 18% saying no, and the number not sure 9. That comment, please. Owen Richards says, what needs to be in place is restrictions of social media for students under a certain age group during school hours. Okay. And Larissa now says, yes, I do understand that, Mr. Noble. Number 2, different points. Hence my reasons for saying tangential point. It is not fully in tune with the core discussion.
Yes, he's talking about the phone, having the phone.
The phone itself. Yes. As opposed to and this person is pointing out, that's why it's a tangential point, because you need the phone, some device to access. What I say about all of this is that it's quite some time now that society is affected so much by social media. You can say anything to anybody, anytime, anyhow. Yes. So you post if you look at some posts that the Prime Minister put up, for example, and like during COVID, I saw some horrible ones, go give your mama injection and all that kind of thing. That the crassness, the crudeness, I don't know if we can legislate the use of social media. Time will tell, but there are workarounds. So I am not sure that banning or restricting without making sure that people guide their own homes will make the difference.
Thank you. So Noble, if you have a last point before we wrap up the show?
And that's why we try to have a balanced approach. And while we're talking, we encourage parents, take your responsibility as a parent seriously so that we don't have to go to these extreme measures. Be more proactive in your children's life because there is just a big world out there. And if you want to help your children to intellectually develop, I'm not saying you shouldn't have social media or because we have made advances and a lot of advancement and we're moving towards the future. But having the right balance exposure will certainly make a difference.
That's our show for today.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Noble. And we want to remind our viewers that the poll is still open on the podcast. So you just go to the poll on the channel, and we appreciate your contribution there. I want to read this last one just came in from Marshall E. White. I fully support restrictions on social media use for all children under 16. Social media platforms have been distracting and they threaten to reshaping our children's value systems. There's support for you, Mr. Noble. I see you pushing your hand in the air. Okay.
Yes.
Remember, you can watch this podcast again anytime at your convenience by clicking the link or by going to the Frankly Speaking Jamaica YouTube channel for episode 217. Remember to like and share the podcast and subscribe to the channel. Thanks to our guests. First, Principal of Park Mountain Primary and Infant School, Carlene Williams-Heath. And in the second segment, Mr. Jeff Noble. We should have had Stuart Jacobs of the National Parent Teachers Association, our representative, but we did not have. And I must say, and I was reminded, say congratulations to all those students who did so well, who sat the PEP examinations. Congratulations. It's not a pass-fail, so nobody passed, nobody failed. It's not a pass-fail. We keep saying that because we remember common entrance. But it's not a pass-fail exam, and the students who did it generally did well. And I'm also sure that some of you have seen a pushback about a school that prevented some students from graduating fully with all the trappings of graduation because their students did not get the higher grades. But thanks to all of the teachers and who prepared students for the PEP, families who supported them, and the students for doing so well. Thanks to Desmond Richards, Winnie Anderson Brown, and graphic artist, producer Joshua Black. Thank you all for watching. On behalf of all of us, I'm Frankly McKnight. Until then.
The lights go up, the mics are lit. We're feeling that energy, that Sunday drive. Whether you're here while the clock is ticking or catching the replay, the plot is thickening. From the very first word to the final thought, you're the reason for every battle we fought. Oh, to our zealots, the ones who stay, and our viewers watching from miles away. If you live in the chat or on a late night screen, you're the